All right, now we're going to look at joints. Okay, so what is a joint? Another name for a joint is an articulation. Okay, so every time you hear the word articulation, talking about joints. All right, so now when we look at any kind of classification of joints, it's really important to look at twofold characteristics. So you have one is the anatomical, or we say structural, or number two, you say the function or the physiological parameter. And I'm going to give you two different sets of these examples, and I'm going to give you the different types. So when we look at the structural, or let's just put anatomical. If you ever see the word anatomical characteristics of these joints, there's three specific types of these joints. Okay, three specific. You have fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial. Okay, so you have, what did I say? I said fibrous, which means what? These are joints that are made from fibrous tissue. For example, the sutures in your skull. That's an example of fibrous tissue. Cartilaginous. So cartilaginous would be what? It'll be made from cartilage. So what's an example of that? Okay, a lot of these different, any kind of cartilage that's found between joints that have cartilage in it. So this could be a variety of these. It could be in your shoulder. It could be in regions of your pubic symphyses that hold the pelvic region together. All right, so there's a lot of these different. And then finally, you have the synovial. Okay, synovial joints are majority of your appendicular joints. They're mobile joints. The joints that have this specific type of synovial fluid that is responsible for decreasing the friction that's taking place here. Okay, and then finally, we just did anatomical. All right, so now what we need to look at is structure or physiological. Let's change the colors. Physiological. So in terms of function, in terms of mobility. Physiological. All right, and what are these? What are these different types? Let's do it in yellow. If you can see yellow. Okay. So you have immobile. So it's called synarthros. Okay, so these are immobile joints, meaning that they're not able to show any kind of movement. So they're immobile. So again, like we talked about the sutures. Okay. Amphiarthros. This is slightly mobile. Okay, so they're not immobile like the synarthros, but the amphiarthros are slightly mobile. Okay, and so finally, the third one is the movable, are called the diarthros. Okay, so these are the three different types of physiological changes. So synarthros is, one more time, immovable. Amphiarthros is slightly movable. And then you have the diarthros, which is movable joints. So these are the two separate characteristics, anatomical and physiological characteristics of all the joints in your body.